What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the DFS OGs podcast right here on Rotogrinders, presented by our friends over at FanDuel. And as you can see on the screen, we have our own tournament at FanDuel. I know a lot of you guys have been playing in that tournament with us. A $7 single entry buy-in that spreads the entire season. We're going to give your top 10 scores will count in this tournament and season-long prizes as well. We'll talk more about that as we get along here on the show, but FanDuel.com/OG to find that while we're talking here. But let me get to my boys here, talking some week 8, some week 9. Chop, Noto, Notorious. Let's start with you, buddy. Again, we appreciate you joining us. I know NBA is a grind right now. A lot of games on the docket tonight. So how are you? How was week 8? How was Halloween? Welcome into the show, my man. How are we doing?
Yeah, doing good. The bags under the eyes, they're getting darker and they're getting bigger. So it's that time of year. But yeah, doing good. Week 8, man, all I needed, one touchdown from Jalen Hurts. I mean, come on, man. 4 touchdowns from the running backs and none of them to Gainwell either. Very frustrating. But yeah, ended up being not a completely losing week, but could have been a lot better. And Chop, sorry about your Astros, my man.
Yeah, Chop, that was a tough scene last night. I mean, the Braves just put it on them. They really left no doubt in that one. So I'm sorry as well. We always love to see a team win a championship, but tough go with your Astros. So besides that, Chop, how are we?
Well, I mean, it's sports, and you roll out of bed, and the sun comes up, so you really can't complain. You know, you're going to move on. But yeah, that last weekend was really rough, man. It was, didn't do particularly well in the NFL, and by Saturday night we were down 3-1 in the series, so I had that looming over me. And then on Saturday during college football, I always have this one game I play every week that it's a head-to-head for an exorbitant amount of money, and I don't, I just do it just to do it. But and I lost this week by 1 yard, like literally 0.1 points. I lost this massive head-to-head, and when this running back, the last player on the slate, busted off a 10-yard carry at the end of the game, lost by 1 yard. So everything just like came down on me at once, just rained on my parade. But I'm starting to come out of it, and I'm sure by this weekend I'll be feeling back up to standards. So I'm ready to roll, man.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a couple days sometimes, like you said. So how was Halloween, Chop? We kind of talked a little bit about it before the end of our last show. How did the festivities go for you over Halloween weekend?
Yeah, it was pretty tame for me. Just I hang inside the house mostly, so I don't worry about the rest of it. But put a little bucket outside, let the kids come up and get their own stuff if they want to. Limit one, can't be taking a bunch of stuff. Limit, because my wife does the little bag. She like individualizes the bag, so you just grab you one. And I had a little what is that, police tape, the faux police tape from the store. I had that blocking off my steps so they couldn't come up my steps. I had it out by my garage, so I had them nice and spaced out. So it was good. Got some cupcakes and some candy and stuff, so I can't complain about that.
Well played. You stay off my lawn, guy. Stay off my porch. So I like it. No. I know you got a little one. How was Halloween in the Notorious household?
Yeah, I always enjoy Halloween. A lot more fun for the kids than the adults. But I don't understand the people that just live for Halloween. I mean, I had 2 different guys in the neighborhood, get completely dressed up. They looked like they were statues out there, just scaring the little kids every time they went up to their house. And I'm just wondering, like, how many hours did you spend on this costume, painted face, everything? And oh man, I don't get it. It's funny watching other kids get scared and everything, but yeah, I don't really understand like how these
tell
people
him, Noto, tell him, hey man, if you guys got that much damn time, come write this article for me. I mean,
right.
shit, man.
Take a game out of the grind down for me while you got all this extra time. But yeah, there's some people in my neighborhood. They have so many decorations out. Like, do you have a storage unit for these things? Like, where in the hell do you put all this Halloween crap? But I'm with you, Noto. I like it for the kids. I'm not a dress up Halloween guy. I still have a little one, so I still go out with her. But eventually I'll be hanging it up and hanging in the house and letting them rip roll around the neighborhood. But solid candy stash here. I know that. Not that I need any candy, but a ton of candy around here. But we are here to talk some football once again, breaking down everything in week 9 with our favorite bets, our favorite DFS plays. Want again, point you to FanDuel.com/OG. Come play against us. Single entry tournament, just 500 spots in this one. Somebody's going to walk away with $5,000 at the end of this thing. Top 10 scores will count. We will go over some of the top finishers from last week. Take a look at that season-long leaderboard as well later on in the show. We will also update our bet amongst ourselves, tracking each and every bet that we give you guys. So we have a new leader atop the board here this week. So we'll update that as well as we go along. So let's get into it, guys. A lot of games to get to here this week. Let's start with Cleveland and Cincinnati. The Bengals small 2.5-point home favorites here. 47 on the total, Derek. So a lot of news in the NFL this week. You know, we got COVID for Aaron Rodgers. We got COVID for Saquon Barkley. We got the whole Henry Ruggs saga I'm sure we'll talk about. You also have the Odell Beckham saga, who apparently just isn't on Cleveland anymore, is the word here. So, Derek, what do we do with this team? Cincinnati, we saw kind of tripped up last week, but has generally looked good this season. Cleveland stumbles at home last week to Pittsburgh. So, no Odell. Does that say we play Jarvis Landry? Do we want to go to Nick Chubb here? Cincinnati side, how do we attack this Cleveland defense?
Yeah, for Cleveland, you know, we kind of were hoping Nick Chubb was going to get the bulk of the work. We've always said, you know, as soon as Kareem Hunt goes down, Nick Chubb's going to be that guy that we can finally trust to get 20-plus touches. But Dearness Johnson basically just filled in for Kareem Hunt. Chubb only got 55% of the snaps last week. Maybe that goes up a little bit since it was his first week back from injury. But I still think he's just going to be like the main early down back, and then Dearness Johnson is going to mix in quite a bit as well. With Odell out, I'm not sure how much it changes. I mean, this isn't a team that wants to pass the ball all that much. Perhaps they get behind early. But Beckham wasn't getting that many targets to begin with. So I'm fine with Landry. Price point's decent, $5,900 on FanDuel. But for the most part, I'm not in love with this offense this week. And then on the other side, Cleveland, they got a pretty good pass defense, pretty good pass rush as well. So that worries me a little bit with Burrow and this offensive line. They have held up a lot better than I expected them to this season. But I think it's a really good spot for Joe Mixon. He's playing around 75% of the snaps. He's a guy that can, you know, get it done in the passing game or on the ground. Going to get all the goal line work as well. So I really like Mixon. I'll always have my shares of Chase in tournaments. And, you know, T. Higgins is kind of becoming that guy that has all those air yards and they're just not turning into too much of production. So for me, I like Mixon the most in this game. But overall, not a game I'm looking to load up on. And for the bet, I'm going to take Cincinnati at home.
All right, Chop, we know you love them air yards, and I keep getting sucked in here with T. Higgins. The price keeps dropping lower and lower. So is he a guy you're interested in? Well, what do we do with this Odell saga? Do we go to Landry? Do we just ignore it? And then put some pretty good running backs in this game. Which one do you prefer? Which side here? So a pretty interesting game here, Chop, Bengals and Browns.
Yeah, I think I prefer the Cincinnati side of the DFS. Like Burrow and the guys, they just keep putting up really solid offensive numbers. So I like that side of it. Burrow, Mixon, Chase, and yeah, I got to keep T. Higgins. Tyler Boyd, when everybody's healthy, is the guy I can scratch off. I see a lot of every week. I see, you know, some Tyler Boyd love here or there. I scratch him off every week, man, when everybody's healthy. So, but I like that side more in DFS. Oddly enough, I'm really fighting the urge to take Cleveland though on the spread here because. Although I don't necessarily like Baker Mayfield this week or Jarvis Landry and Nick Chubb, like Notorious said, Nick Chubb's, I think he's good, but not didn't quite get that, you know, extra bit of work we thought might happen. So it worries me. I don't like them in DFS, but somehow I think they're going to come into this game and play really well and vie for the upset. I wish I could get that extra half a point. I'd take Cleveland. The 2.5 scares me. So I really don't know what to do with it. But I do think Cleveland comes in and actually puts this Odell thing behind them pretty quick. I mean, I think it's pretty documented that Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback when Odell Beckham's not out there. Oddly enough, they do not like each other. I thought it was just a chemistry issue or something like that. They just don't like each other. I found that out today. So I think Cleveland's going to be okay. I think I'm going to take Cleveland here.
Odell's dad tell you that, Chop?
I heard I was watching some news stuff today. Some of those I don't like to watch that morning NFL stuff all over ESPN, but I got in there today just to see, and there was some guys on there that kind of made it a point that they don't much like each other, and that makes sense now looking at them on the field, looking back in hindsight. So, but we noted that last year that Mayfield played just as good, if not better, without Odell out there. So, I think they'll have something to prove in this game.
Yeah, he doesn't have to force him the ball. According to Odell's dad, he keeps missing them, throwing behind him. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but pretty interesting reporting there from Mr. Beckham. But yeah, I mean, this game is tough. I'm going to go with Cincinnati in this one, minus the 2.5. This could go one of two ways for them. They either respond to that loss to the Jets and bounce back, or you start to see them stumble a little bit here over the next couple of weeks. But a game in the division here, I think they match up pretty well. I think they bounce back. So I'm going to Bengals here. Chop, did you make an official pick here?
Man, you guys are gonna put me on Cleveland Island here, but I gotta go with Cleveland here, I think.
All right, Cleveland for Chop. Let's move on. Next game, we got Minnesota traveling to Baltimore. The Ravens -6 here at home, 49.5 on the total here. So Minnesota, Chop, they lost to your boys in Cooper Rush last week. So a very uninspiring performance from that offense. A ton of work for Dalvin Cook, but nothing in the box score. Justin Jefferson, only a handful of targets in that game. The Ravens, this looks like a great spot for them, Chop. Lamar Jackson and company. You get Hollywood Brown in there. Bateman is a cheap option. Expected to have Latavius Murray back. I think that helps that running game a little bit. So seems like this is one we want to stack up the Ravens, Chop. Yay or nay?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be popular too, but I definitely see the passing game as a place to go. I think they're going to play Andrews, Brown, Bateman even, and of course Lamar spearheading it. I'm avoiding the backfield. 100% avoiding this backfield for Baltimore. So it's just a passing game for me. And on the flip side, if I had a bold proclamation this week, I think it's that either Dalvin Cook or Justin Jefferson, one of them is like a break the slate kind of guy this week. I think one of them comes up with a big performance. I can't put my finger on which one, but I think one of them does. And so if you want to go passing game, Cousins, Jefferson, Thielen, all in play. But I think Dalvin Cook's about ready to bust out of his slump. So I think this is a really good DFS game, like exceptional. So I'm on it. And I guess with that being said, if you like a game that much in DFS, it only stands to reason you would take the over the total here. So give me the over.
Yeah, I agree with the Minnesota guys. I think they're very interesting. Great running back options. I think you're going to get very, very low ownership, especially on Jefferson. Cook will have some ownership just being one of those higher end stud running backs. But Jefferson, I think people are going to be afraid to pull the trigger. This Baltimore defense, not what it was in years past, still pretty good, but certainly one you don't have to shy away from. So I really like that Jefferson call as well. Love Lamar here, Derek. Is he sitting atop the quarterback rankings here this week?
Yeah, it's hard not to like Lamar each and every week, but especially this week, Minnesota, their defensive strength is against the run. They're third, so I don't think the backfield is going to get much going. And Lamar is not your typical runner, and that he's a quarterback, so I don't think they're going to be able to stop him on the ground. And it's a great spot for both Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews. But the Vikings have been, much tougher on tight ends than they have been on wide receivers. So I like the Marquise Brown to Jackson stack as my favorite there. And then love the idea of bringing it back with Jefferson. Like you guys mentioned, this isn't the same defense that it used to be. They've been missing 3 or 4 guys in the secondary, Baltimore that is. So I think Jefferson's in a blow-up spot. Don't mind taking some Dalvin Cook as well. It's a good spot for their offensive line in the trenches. They're 4th in adjusted line yards, while the Baltimore is 27th in defensive adjusted line yards. So they should be able to get something going on the ground, and they should be able to, beat the secondary deep with Jefferson. So good game to stack, and for that reason, I'm going with the over.
All right, I'm going to go the under on this one. I think Minnesota struggles continue here a little bit. I love the Baltimore side. I think they do well. Should probably just take Baltimore minus the 6, but I think this Minnesota offense continues its struggles that we've seen of late. So I'm going to go under the 49.5 on this one. Let's go to our next game. We got the Raiders traveling to New York, take on the Giants. Las Vegas -3 in this one. 46 on the total here, Derek. And I mean, this whole Henry Ruggs thing is kind of crazy. Just I saw the speed, and you can discuss that if you want, but Let's look at the game here. Derek Carr in a good spot. I think Hunter Renfrow becomes a very popular value play now. Expected to get Darren Waller back in that lineup. And Bryan Edwards, a guy that I really like here that I think is going to have more opportunity. And I think people are going to be afraid to pull the trigger there. The Giants, we just learned today, Saquon Barkley tested positive for COVID. So another week in Devontae Booker. And then we got to guess the receivers. Who's going to be in there? They're all injured. So Derek, good spot here for these cheaper Vegas receivers maybe. I like Derek Carr in this spot. So what are your thoughts here, Raiders and Giants?
Yeah, the Henry Ruggs thing, I mean, that's just awful. Sucks for everyone involved. So, prayers to the family and all that stuff. So, anyway, I do think it's a good spot for the cheaper receivers. I think Renfrow makes a lot of sense. And, Waller ended up missing last week's game. So if he's out again, Foster Moreau, he played basically every snap and had a pretty big game. So he would be the cheap tight end I would look to if Waller's out again. If Waller's active, I think you can play him here. I know he's been underwhelming. I know Chop thinks he's a fraud and all that, but I think it's a pretty good spot for him. And then on the other side, yeah, there's not much we can do until we know who's going to be active for these receivers. There seems to be, another injury or two every single week. And Daniel Jones just loves rushing and diving head first. So he's always an injury concern too. But he offers that rushing upside. Just wait and see approach for the Giants and take some value with the Raiders. Don't love a lot in this game, so I'm going to take the under.
All right, Chop, let's get over to you again. Renfrow will be a very popular value play, I think. Waller, a higher-end tight end. We know that position's been tough. I like Edwards as more of a high-risk, high-reward type play, a guy that we've seen flashes. I haven't seen him really get it done yet. The Giants, it's really tough to say right now without knowing the injury report here. So thoughts on this one, Chop, Raiders and Giants?
Yeah, I think you got it. Those receivers are in play because of Ruggs being out now. So maybe actually Waller performs and does something this week finally. And the other guys are fine. And Josh Jacobs, I probably don't want to play him, but that's what I thought a couple weeks ago. And he pretty much, performed really well. So maybe I'm just hating on him too much, but I just don't have a lot of love in this game for these guys. The names are fine. You can play them. On the other side, the Giants, I can't mess around with. I'm not a Devontae Booker guy, and I wish I knew who was the receiver. I thought we thought Slayton was going to play here this past week, and all of a sudden he's sitting on the sidelines for the game with his helmet on and not doing anything. And so, I mean, you got to wait on all those injuries. Otherwise, I just think it's a boring game. I'm with Notorious here. I want to take the Giants, but I can't because I don't know who they're going to play at wide receiver. If you tell me Tony's going to play or Galladay or any of them are going to play, I'll probably go Giants, but they might not have any of them. And they might not have not a single. John Ross might be their number one wide receiver. I can't do that. So I'm just going to take the under here because I think the Raiders are they got to be flat this game on offense right after this whole sickening ordeal that's happening right now with their number one wide receiver who's not part of the team anymore, but they got to be really flat. So I'm going to take the under on this game too.
Yeah, I certainly get that point of view. I actually think they come out and kind of band together. And this Giants team, as impressive as they were against Kansas City, which, how good is Kansas City? I guess we have to ask that question right now, but we'll talk more about them as we go along. I think the Raiders pull it together here. I think they're the better team. I get they're traveling across the country, early game. I understand all that, but I think you really see them band together here and put it to this Giants team. So I'm going to go Vegas minus the 3 in this one. Chop, we'll stay with you here. Next game, we got a big spread here. Buffalo going to play Derek's team here. Jacksonville, a really disappointing performance last week in Seattle. I really thought they had a shot in that game, at least to be competitive. But we got Buffalo, Chop, minus 14.5. 48.5. Again, we just talked Lamar Jackson. Now we got to put Josh Allen up there as well. I mean, we saw Geno Smith terrorize this Jacksonville team. So is it Lamar? Is it Josh Allen? Are you looking to spend on these high-end quarterbacks? Who do you pair him with? And then what do we do on the Jacksonville side? We've seen guys like Jamal Agnew and Dan Arnold be the guys that we need on Jacksonville. So kind of ugly over there, but feels like a spot Buffalo should roll pretty easily.
Yeah, Josh Allen was doing nothing there last week for a long time. He looked like a huge bust, and then all of a sudden, because you can run a little bit, bang, he gets there at the end. So he's definitely got to be high up on the radar for DFS this week. Along with, now we're going to Jacksonville, so Diggs is in play here. Diggs has had some tough matchups, and they've been trying to get him the ball, but, just hadn't been able to do it. This is the one, I think, where he breaks out and gets the ball quite a bit. So like me some Stephon Diggs, and I will every few weeks, Zach Moss comes around, and he's got a good matchup, and he's steady and consistent, and you can play him, and I think this is one of them. So I don't mind Zach Moss either here. The Jacksonville side, I'm more or less out on these guys this week. They're just they're not particularly good. They got a low team total here, and the Buffalo defense is sneaky good this year in all aspects. So Jacksonville really doesn't interest me. 14.5 though, there's no way, man. I can't lay that kind of number on the road here. So what do? I got to wait, and I got to see what Notorious takes because I'm trying to catch up to Notorious. So let's see what he says in this game.
All right, let's go to Notorious here. It's his team, so he knows best. Derek, tough one there in Seattle, but coming home here, can they compete with Buffalo? Is there a shot here? Again, there's some decent value in a Dan Arnold at tight end, got a lot of targets, but do we really want to play Jamal Agnew? I mean, he continues to be the guy. You tell us, is this the play? And then we obviously have to keep an eye on James Robinson, avoided serious injury, but still questionable here this week. So, Derek, give us 4-1 here on the Jags. Did they compete here? Did they get blown out? How does this one go with Buffalo?
Feels like the Jags played their Super Bowl a couple weeks ago when they got their win. I told you guys not to bet on them last week in Seattle. And look at their money line number, plus 666. The number of the devil, the beast. Yeah, this isn't a team you want to trust. I'll take Buffalo in this one. I'll take them in a rout. And I agree with Chop. I think it's a great spot for Stephon Diggs. He's yet to have a game with over 100 yards and a touchdown. I think he gets it done in the first half against the Jags. That's how bad they are. And I agree with Chop also on Zach Moss. This is the worst of run defense in the NFL. He's playing on 2/3 of the snaps over the last 3 weeks, so snap rate's going up. The price is really cheap. Nobody's going to play him because, running back position's so loaded each and every week. So, yeah, I like that. Allen's obviously in play. If the game's able to stay competitive, he's going to have a big one. And if I'm bringing it back with anyone, I think I'll just go, the value route with Dan Arnold. Maybe Tre'Davious White gets on Marvin Jones and we see some Chenault. But, yeah, I don't know if I'm trusting Agnew.
I'm on Buffalo here as well. I think they roll in this game. Jacksonville just does not look good. This Buffalo team's going to be able to score at will. I love the Diggs call, Chop. I love the Moss call as well. I think especially on a FanDuel with those touchdowns. But he has shown a lot of involvement in the passing game as well. So not to say that you can't play him over on DK, but I think the scoring, obviously, with a team total approaching 32, there's going to be touchdowns galore here. So all the Bills for me, I think they're all in play. I love the stacks here, the double stacks clearly with Dan Arnold as kind of the running back option, I guess, on the other side. So, all right, Chop, backed you into a corner here. Got to make a pick. What do you got?
Well, I can't take Buffalo because that would put it on the parlay card, and I already said I just don't like laying that much on the road here, so can't do that. I'm certainly not going to go on Jacksonville Island against you guys. That'd be terrible. So just by the looks of it, I think the under is in play here. So give me the under.
All right, you got the under next. We're going to Chop's team here. Looks to be in a good spot at home against the Denver Broncos. Dallas sitting at minus 9.5. Big 49.5 on the total here. So Derek, we'll stay with you here first. We'll get to Chop here momentarily, but good spot here for Dallas. Looks like Dak Prescott going to be back in this lineup. Obviously, you have Cooper and Lamb, Zeke, Pollard. A lot of ways you can go here with Dallas. Denver, maybe not so much. The split running back that we've talked about all season long, really tough to get going there. Judy's return has kind of cannibalized things with Sutton. Fant looks like he may miss this game, so maybe Albert O's a value option. So, Derek, is it the passing game for Dallas, the running game, all of the above? How are you handling this one here with this big spread, big total?
Yeah, I think you can go either way on Dallas. Denver's defense, not what we imagine them being with Vic Fangio as their head coach. Bottom 12 against the run, bottom 6 against the pass so far this season. And look, we all love Tony Pollard, but I mean, Zeke's made some huge plays for the Cowboys this season. He's consistently playing over 70% of the snaps. He's getting most of the goal line work. I think he's in a great spot. Denver's been missing 2 of their best run-stopping linebackers. So great spot for him. Then the passing game, you pair Dak up with CD. You can pair him up with Amari. I think they're both in play. You could do a double stack if you feel good enough about Denver's chances of keeping the game competitive. And on the Denver side, yeah, you mentioned that you can't trust these running backs, and then it's kind of a little bit tougher to trust Sutton now that Jerry Judy's back. So I'll probably take a wait and see approach, but it is a good spot. I mean, if you are playing your Cowboys stacks, you probably want to run it back with someone. I guess I would lean to Judy on full PPR sites and Sutton, on FanDuel where touchdowns are a little bit more important. As far as the pick, yeah, that's tough. I guess I will take the Cowboys, but I don't feel great about it.
All right, Chop, let's get over to you. I'll get my pick in here to allow you to see what's going on, read the room here, Chop. I'm going to go under in this game. I think Denver could struggle here. I think their defense is good enough to slow Dallas down a bit. We know Dallas wants to run the ball, not necessarily wing it all over the field unless they have to. So that tends to lean to an under here. And even without Von Miller, you still respect this Denver defense somewhat. So under for me here on this total. Chop, let's go to you. Your team. Do they roll here? Passing game, running game, all seem to be in a good spot here against Denver.
Yeah, I think they're all in a good spot, but I think they kind of lean on the running game a little bit more here. I don't know if you want to expose Dak Prescott, to too many dropbacks here with the bum leg and just kind of let him get 100%. So I think they do lean on the run game a little bit for some of the reasons Derek mentioned. Is really that's the way you attack Denver anyway, is on the ground. So Elliott, and I don't mind keeping Pollard in your player pool if you want to. Obviously, you don't put those guys on the same team. You make a rule in the lineup HQ to separate them, but I don't mind. You just never know. Pollard's good for a 100-yard game every once in a while. And I'll have minimal exposure to the passing game for Dallas. For Denver, no running backs. Maybe Sutton, maybe Judy, as like maybe a run back on the Elliott thing in garbage time, what have you. But I'm not a big fan of this offense for Denver right now, so it's hard for me to recommend any of them. But with that being said, I think Dallas back at home here with Prescott can put up some points, and I don't think Denver can hang, so give me Dallas.
All right, moving on to the next game. Before I do that, got to mention the chat. I don't want to leave you guys out, so some familiar faces in there. Our boy Don Yeezy, Josh Duck. So appreciate you guys tuning in once again. If you guys have questions, get it in there. We'll try to integrate it into the show. So thank you to everybody, as always, for listening and your involvement in the show. We really love chatting it up with you guys as well. All right, next game on the docket here, we have Atlanta and New Orleans. Saints -6 here at home. Low total here, Chop, 42.5. So a couple big stories here. We saw the Calvin Ridley thing, stepping away from the game to deal with some things. So that obviously takes a lot out of this offense. As bad as he's been, and he hasn't been bad. I guess bad's the wrong word. He just hasn't been what we've seen him be in years past. Well, now you're counting on guys like Kyle Pitts, who just hasn't made a huge impact yet. Russell Gage, Tajay Sharp. I mean, these are your top receivers. I do think you could see some Cordero Patterson used a lot more in the passing game. So he's very interesting to me. Probably has the run it back option here. Saints side, Jameis out for the year, Chop. I know that's going to give you a little bit of a tear. And sounds like Taysom Hill's supposed to return this week. I absolutely love him in the spot here against Atlanta, a team that has been decimated by quarterbacks, allow a ton of rushing yards to quarterbacks. So don't even need to pair him up. Kamara always in play. So love Taysom, Chop. Like Cordero on the other side. All in all, this game's kind of one of those meh games. Not very exciting here on paper.
Yeah. The loss of Jameis really puts a cloud on it for me. 5-2, they were playing pretty good, and he was. Well, we don't know what Michael Thomas is going to do. There's been reports now this week that he might be out for the year or what have you. Or is that just like Michael Thomas saying, oh, no Jameis? Okay, look, my ankle hurts now. I'm out for the year. Who knows how that's played out, but puts a cloud on it for me. That sucks. But I think the Saints roll here. Atlanta's just watching them the last couple weeks in good spots against defenses they should have been able to do something against. Looks just putrid and terrible without Ridley in there. And it's tough, and I don't really want to trust anybody except for maybe Patterson because he gets such volume here. I want to say Kyle Pitts, but, hey, when that's your best receiver, there's ways to shut him down. Just like last week, he was very, very much ineffective, and that could happen again. So I worry about this offense for New Orleans. I think you're right. If Taysom comes back and he's healthy and everything's good, he'll be fine. But he's going to put a damper on the other guys, that's for sure, man. You know, the wide receivers take a big hit now, and Kamara probably takes a bigger hit down on the goal line. This guy will keep it a lot. So it's tough. I like Hill, but he puts a big negative question mark next to everybody else. But with that being said, I think they kind of man up here and roll over Atlanta at home. So give me New Orleans.
All right, I'm going to go with the under. We've seen the struggles with this Atlanta offense. I don't think that's going to change here against a tough New Orleans defense. With Taysom Hill, like you mentioned, Chop, it's kind of going to hold back the explosiveness. Not that this offense is, the Drew Brees offense we saw in the past. They've certainly had their struggles with Winston, but I think you see them run it more with Ingram, with Taysom. Again, kind of chewing up clock, winning with the defense. I think Atlanta struggles to score some points here. So, low number here, but I'm going to go under this 42.5. So, Derek, over to you. Obviously, Atlanta, is there anything there outside of Cordero Patterson? And then Taysom Hill, yes or no, if he is the quarterback here?
If Taysom's under center, he will absolutely be my quarterback in the NFL OG contest on FanDuel. Everyone should join while they're listening to the show. 5.5K on DraftKings. I think he's pretty cheap on FanDuel as well. So, yeah, he's just one of those guys that when he's a quarterback, you play him in cash games because he's got that high rushing floor. And he's going to be a very good weapon down near the goal line. I get what you guys are saying about Alvin Kamara. Taysom doesn't like to really pass with running backs that much, but it's such a good spot, such a good matchup at home against a defense that can't stop the run. And for many years, the Falcons have been like dead last in fantasy points allowed to running backs. So I'll still have some Kamara shares. Then if it's Trevor Siemian, obviously Kamara is going to be an even better play. On the other side, I just don't like much of anything. Saints have such a good defense, and Falcons just missing so many pieces. I just can't do anything on the Falcons side. So give me the Saints to roll, and I think it's by way more than 6 points.
All right, next game, another kind of ugly one here. In fact, real ugly. Houston and Miami. Miami minus 6.5 here at home. Total sitting at 46 in this one, Derek. So, I mean, Houston really hard to, we thought they would trade Deshaun Watson, kind of shake things up. Maybe they trade Brandon Cooks. They do neither. So it's just a team that feels like they've quit. They trade away Mark Ingram. You got a lot of guys not happy. I just don't see them putting together an inspiring performance at all the rest of the season. So feels like a spot we should like Miami here. Tua, Waddle gets a ton of targets with his buddy there from Alabama. Gesicki hurt a little bit when Parker's back in that lineup, but another guy seeing targets. But Derek, the guy I really like here, and tell me if I'm crazy, is Myles Gaskin in this spot here. I mean, not quite a workhorse running back, but very, very cheap, a guy that's very involved in the passing game. Houston's been trounced by running backs this season. Most rushing yards allowed, second most fantasy points allowed. So can we trust Myles Gaskin in the spot, or are you going to go with the passing game here with Tua? I don't think there's a wrong answer. Just Gaskin, is it a trap? Is it somebody we can count on here in this spot?
I think you can go either way. I think they're both in pretty good spots. Tua didn't play well last week against the Bills, but the week before that, he had 28 fantasy points against the Falcons, and the week before that, he had 25 against the Jags. So I do think it's a spot where you can target him more of the passing game. And Gaskin, he's playing, 55 to 60% of the snaps. This is a great matchup. They're big home favorites. When do we get to say that about the Dolphins? So, yeah, I don't mind the running game. I don't mind the passing game. And I agree with pretty much everything you said about the Texans. I mean, when they trade Mark Ingram, and it turns from a 3 running back committee to a 4 running back committee last week. David Johnson, Philip Lindsay, Rex Burkhead, and I can't remember the other guy, but he got some snaps as well. So can't trust any of those guys. Brandon Cooks probably going to get coverage from Xavier Howard. I'll take my chances with the fade there. He's a guy that, all the sharps love to play, and he keeps burning me with these late touchdowns. Maybe he gets another one here, but I can't do it this week. For my pick, I will go, Miami should have a better record than they do, but I'll go with Miami.
I am also on Miami here. The 6.5 feels a little bit, why isn't it 7? I mean, Houston is that bad, so you always wonder about that, but I just don't see the Texans doing anything in this spot here, Chop. Outside of Brandon Cooks, really nothing to say here about Houston. They may get Tyrod Taylor back. That certainly will help this offense. But I agree with Derek. I think Miami's better than what they've shown this season. I think we see it this week against Houston.
Yeah, I don't want any Houston in DFS. And for Miami, I think Parker coming back kind of clouds it a lot. There's there's several weapons for him to choose from. So who knows who's going to go off? And you include Myles Gaskin, like you said, into that. So a lot of weapons. Tough to figure out which one you want to go with. But Houston's completely off the board for me. And I do think Miami rolls with you guys. So I guess is that our first one on the parlay card? Because I'm on Miami too.
That is the first on the card. All right, we found one. So Miami -6.5. Entry number one here for us in the OGs parlay card. All right, let's do one more game, and then we'll kind of look at some things from last week, some of the top finishers in our FanDuel OGs contest. Want to give them a shout out, and we'll update our betting standings here for the season. So last game in the early window, we got New England and Carolina. New England -3.5 here on the road. Another low total here at 41 chops. So big news here. It sounds like Christian McCaffrey may be back this week. Return from IR designation. Doesn't necessarily mean he'll play, but it certainly opens the door for that to happen. And we know that'll be a welcome addition to this offense. Chuba Hubbard getting a lot of work, pretty pedestrian in the statistical categories. Robbie Anderson continues to get a ton of targets, do nothing with them. DJ Moore should have had a better game last week. That one looked like a touchdown to me on the corner of the end zone, but they called them out of bounds. As far as New England, got to give them credit. They continue to win and do it in impressive fashion behind Damian Harris, the running game. Mac Jones, more of a game manager, tough to trust in fantasy, but Chop, they're getting it done. Did they get it done again here on the road in Carolina?
I'm just not a big New England offense fan in DFS this year. I'm completely out on pretty much all of them every week. I just don't get it. Jacoby Myers always gathers some ownership, and I don't know why. He's like, he can't get in the end zone, and I don't think it's really going to, variance is going to go in his direction anytime soon. So I'm just not a big New England offense fan. So I don't like those guys. With that being said, of course, Damian Harris can pile you on 2 touchdowns in any game and make you a winner. So he's in play. But I think Carolina here, the big thing, like you said, McCaffrey, I really like this offense in general if McCaffrey is back and healthy, because Hubbard is just not good right now. Just not good, man. Now, but with that being said, I don't like this offense against New England. So it's tough for me to sit here and plug in any of these guys. Maybe you one off somebody or something like that, but this game just doesn't seem very appealing fantasy wise. None of it. The under is a little too low for me to go on that route. So I'm going to place my bet under the assumption that McCaffrey comes back this weekend. If he doesn't, then so be it. I'm screwed. But I'm going to go Carolina here as the home underdog and hope McCaffrey comes back, because this offense is completely – I've seen enough of it now. This thing is completely different with him healthy and in that lineup as opposed to whoever else they can run out there this year. So I'm hoping McCaffrey's back, and I want Carolina.
Yeah, again, he just makes the game that much better. So I agree. He'll be interesting in DFS. Do people go there? Do they take a wait-and-see approach? But I'm pretty much with you, Chop. Not a ton in this game I like. Maybe you can one-off a Hunter Henry at tight end. We know is a difficult spot. I'm not ready to write off DJ Moore after some down games. I think he gets it going. And McCaffrey could certainly help that, take some attention away. And Damian Harris, like you said, always kind of a play on FanDuel for those touchdowns. So I'm going to go over in this one. I don't love these two offenses, but I do think they can each get to 20 points in this game. And I think New England can go a little bit higher than that. So I'm going to go over the 41 on this one. So Derek, kind of a boring game, picks all over the board. What do you got here, New England and Carolina?
Yeah, so Wednesday's practice report just came out. Sam Darnold, extremely limited. Christian McCaffrey, extremely limited. ESPN's David Newton says he expects P.J. Walker to start this week. So, this could be a team, P.J. Walker and Chuba Hubbard is their quarterback, running back combo. I don't love that. Even if it is Darnold back there and even if McCaffrey's there, I don't think I'll trust anything from a DFS perspective. We've seen Carolina, give McCaffrey a full workload in his first games back before, and he just seems to re-aggravate the injuries. So if he comes back, I think they'll ease him into action a little bit. So I'm off of the Panthers and the Patriots. You guys said Jacoby Myers can't find the end zone. Hey, he found it. It was a 2-point conversion, but he found it. So he's now been tackled at the 1, touchdown call back. The announcer calling him a touchdown when it wasn't him, and then a 2-point conversion. He's getting closer, guys. He's getting closer. Kidding aside, yeah, this is an ugly game, and I will take the under.
He's definitely allergic to actual touchdowns. So 2-point conversions, that doesn't count. I mean, he has been, some weird plays, and it's just one of these things that is it ever going to end? Is the streak going to end? So what was your pick there, Derek? I'm sorry, I missed it.
I'm going the under.
Under 41. All right, let's take a look back at last week in our DFS OGs contest on FanDuel. So again, to find this thing, I had some people reach out, say they couldn't find the tournament. All you got to do to go to fanduel.com/OG. That is the landing page for the tournament. That's going to give you all the information you need to enter the tournament, as well as check where you rank in the season-long leaderboard. So let's take a look at the top 5 from last week. 5th place goes to Nader, 7877, puts up 158.84. So a solid score there. Looks like he had the Wentz, Pittman connection. A.J. Brown with a big game as his run it back. Chris Godwin, and Darrell Henderson, Austin Eckler, both big games at the running back position. So a solid outing there. Lions Den 2015 comes in 4th, 161. Josh Allen on his team, Henderson, Eli Mitchell. Had Diggs paired with Allen. Again, we see A.J. Brown in that lineup, and survived a couple duds. Tommy Sweeney, only 4. Leonard Fournette, just 5 points. So 2 duds there, but still gets the top 5 finish. So congrats to Lions Den. Valkyrie 778 comes in 3rd, 168.76. Again, we see Allen to Diggs, Cooper Kupp in that lineup, another Darrell Henderson there. Survived the aforementioned Jacoby Myers, going just 4 for 37. Good for a 3rd place finish. Rocking that RG badge. Love to see it. This one, Nakutki 262. 2nd place, 170.26. Once again, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, kind of a common theme here. Also had the Bills D, so an interesting pairing there. Darrell Henderson in this lineup, Chris Godwin, Eli Mitchell, Joe Mixon making an appearance here, 23 fantasy points on FanDuel. And our winner, now rocking the RG badge, just 1 week too late, was Nico 807, and we handed out that freebie last week. Unfortunately, that was a one-time deal, but still love to see somebody with the RG logo rocking it. Nico takes this thing down behind Carson Wentz, Michael Pittman, running it back with A.J. Brown. Again, Chris Godwin in that lineup, Mixon, Henderson, Diggs. So very solid performance there, $500 to Nico in that contest. Chop, do we have the season-long leaderboard ready to take a look and see where we're at here?
We do. We got it. 4794. Looks like he's up top now, and yeah, he's still up top. And the one I noticed was a JMB Wing fan, a Rotogrinders guy. Yep. He moved into the top 8 here. He's at number 8, so he moved up with a pretty solid week. He's, you can see by the looks of his board here, he's had some pretty bad weeks, but he's still in the top 8 because of those drop scores. So you got that working for you. And yeah, my man Urinal Cake dropped to number 14 this week. Rough week at only 79 points this week. That's a rough week for him. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, that'll drop you down a little bit. Yisman number 21. I like that. That's a big Discord guy right there. And let me see if we can find any DBs or any Deans.
We gotta have a Notorious up here still, don't we?
I'm dropping.
You drop it. Not a good week for you.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't see there's Notorious number 64. That's not, hey man, I'd give a lot for number 64 right now. It's been the thing about this is if you don't, because I'll play my cash game. I don't even play cash, but main GPP team I'll put in this tournament right here. So the fact that I'm not anywhere near this leaderboard right here will show you how my main teams are doing on FanDuel this year. So I'd love to be in 64th place right now.
Yeah, I would do the same. It's been a crazy year. I usually make 3 to 4 lineups, so it's trying to pick one to put in this tournament. It's generally the wrong pick. Always the fun of making multiple lineups. But again, the beauty of this contest, if you guys have played every week, if you're just playing some of the weeks, if you haven't even played yet, it's still an opportunity here. And some of the names we called out in the top 5 of last week, you saw them kind of shoot up the standings here. into that top 5. So it's still a chance. 10 scores only will count. Remember, we got 18 weeks of the season here. So weekly payouts in the tournament along with this leaderboard. Again, somebody's walking away with $5,000 just for playing against us each and every week, along with a lot of other Rotogrinders personalities. So a fun tournament, a level playing field, just $7. Again, go in and reserve your entry, just 500 spots in that tournament. So let's fill that baby up this week at FanDuel.com/OG. All right, let's update our betting standings here. I mentioned we have a new leader. Derek surges ahead here last week. Now, Chop actually had the best week last week. He went 7-4, I believe it was, on our 7-5. We had 12 picks last week. So he led the way. Noda, you were even at 6-6. That was enough to surge you in the lead. Why? Because I fell on my face here, 4-8 last week. So an ugly performance there. So that leaves Chop and I tied now at 45 after 8 weeks. Derek up 2 games here in the standings at 47. So still a tight game. Long way to go, but let you guys back in the game. So shame on me falling on my face here this week. But week 9, we'll get it going. We got 3 games left to put some picks here on the board. Kind of a light afternoon slate here on the site. So let's get to the next game. What do we got next here? We have, let's switch tabs here. The Chargers in Philadelphia. Chargers road favorites here, -1.5. A big total at 50, Derek. So this one, I think you can go a lot of different ways. Philadelphia, you kind of take with a grain of salt last week. Jalen Hurts obviously let a lot of people down, but they clearly established the run and didn't have to do a whole lot with Jalen Hurts. So he could kind of sit back as they trounced Detroit. So the big question here, Derek, is the running back situation. I think a lot of people, including myself, thought it would be Kenneth Gainwell having the majority of this committee. Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, all involved here. So it looks like we have a 3-headed monster there. Dallas Goedert, a guy I do like a lot this week. I mean, Hurts only threw the ball like 14 times. Goddard saw 7 of those targets. So a great matchup here with the Chargers, who have struggled with tight ends. Other side, everybody in play, in my opinion. You can go back to Herbert, who's disappointed, stack him up with Keenan, Mike Williams. I really love Austin Eckler in the spot as well, Derek, a guy that Philadelphia's struggled with running backs, struggled with pass-catching running backs. So a lot here. Who are you prioritizing here? Big total here, close spread. Should be a fun game.
Yeah, still feeling the after effects of playing Jalen Hurts last week on both FanDuel and DraftKings, but don't mind going back there. This is a game where we can obviously expect it to be more competitive. I don't think they're going to have nearly as much success on the ground. Chargers 4th in DVOA against the run, and I don't want to target a 3-way timeshare. In terms of snap counts, Gainwell played 31%, Scott played 45%, and Howard played 25%. So it's going to be a 3-headed monster, like you mentioned, Beer. I think I'll avoid that. And I played Dallas Goedert each of the last 2 weeks without Zach Ertz, and he's been great on a yards per target basis. He just needs the targets to go up, and I do think that'll happen this week. So I like Hurts. I like Goddard. And you can bring it back with pretty much anyone on the Chargers side, or you can just, stack the Chargers. Herbert to Mike Williams looks like a good stack after a pretty down week from him last week. Keenan Allen finally had a nice fantasy outing, and Austin Eckler, you mentioned it. It's just a great spot for him. Running backs have had a lot of success against the Eagles. So, yeah, you can play any one of those 4 guys. As far as my pick, I think the Chargers should win this game, but it feels like they'll get ahead, and then something will happen late. So I'm just going to take the over.
All right, I am going to lock in the Chargers here. I'm not buying it with Philadelphia. I mean, great, you beat Detroit. You put it on them here. I think the Chargers bounce back here. So, again, I know there's travel across the country. People put a lot of weight into that, whether it's real, it's not real. I think it's yet to be proven. But, Chop, I think the Chargers really overwhelm this Philadelphia team. And this may be the week we see Jalen Hurts kind of struggle a little bit. The fantasy points are always going to be there. We know that. But maybe we get a little Gardner Minshew in this one. I think the Chargers are the better team. I think we see that play out on Sunday.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, I said the stat like earlier in the year, every game he started, he's had at least 20 like FanDuel points or whatever it was, all the way up until last weekend, where he finally broke the streak and had a bad game. So you have to ask yourself, is he going to get back on track and start a new streak, and that was just a fluke? or is this going to be the beginning of some poor games for Jalen Hurts? Because I could see that going either way. But with that being said, I think he's okay this week, and I think he's okay because he's going to run the ball, and that's going to be the main weapon that they're going to use against the Chargers is Jalen Hurts' legs. In which case, I don't need to pair him with anybody. I think that could be a mistake, is trying to stack him with a wide receiver. You don't need to, because he's going to run the ball. If he's not running the ball, he's not going to win you a GPP anyway. So, but if you do feel like you need to stack him with somebody, I think it is Godare. I think I trust him more than any of these other guys. But I think the Chargers is where it's at this week. I think they put up a big number here against Philly. All those guys are in play. If I have to limit it down to just one, I like Mike Williams the most. I think it's a big bounce back game for Big Mike. And I'm with you on the Chargers. I think the Chargers absolutely steamroll in Philadelphia here.
All right, next game we got my Green Bay Packers. We missing Aaron Rodgers in this game, tested positive for COVID and unvaccinated. So it sounds like the soonest he can come back is November 13th. So in danger of missing the next game as well. So Chop, we get the Jordan Love experience here. Now, we saw him win a game without Devontae Adams. This is a little bit different now. Taking Aaron Rodgers off the field, inserting Jordan Love. We quickly saw that line shoot up. It was about close to a pick. It was about Kansas City -1 or a half. It's all the way up to 7.5 here in the spot. Total at 47.5. So what do we do at Green Bay? Do we trust Love enough to play Adams here at that expensive price tag? Maybe some of the cheaper guys. Do we go to Aaron Jones here? Or are they just going to use that split committee again? And then Kansas City, what the hell do we do there as well, Chop? I mean, Travis Kelce looks like he belongs sitting here on the OGs with us. So maybe he's done for. We're writing him off too soon. I think Tyreek Hill obviously in play with no Jair Alexander. But Kansas City with a split backfield as well. So a lot of questions here, Chop. Any answers for the people here, Green Bay and Kansas City?
I don't know if I have the answers. I know that I was really looking forward to this. I thought this was obviously the game of the day, and everything was great. And then the news came in, Aaron Rodgers, the COVID, and then you hear about the reports that he's uncircumcised, and you got to take the vaccination, man. And then you can play the game. So I mean, whatever, dude. What it does here is I can't play Devontae now at this price tag because I just don't know about Jordan Love. So it really hurts. I think if the Packers were to pull the upset here, they gotta have to do it on Aaron Jones. So that's if you want to take that chance, go for it. I'm sitting there watching the game with Kansas City the other night, and I got Darrell Williams. I think, okay, Darrell's the guy now. I got what a great pickup in my season long. And then they bring in Frank Gore's little cousin here or whatever, and this guy's getting all the carries, and I couldn't believe it. So can't touch that backfield. And Travis Kelce, I was shocked when I went to go, because somebody had mentioned it, and so I went and Googled it, and sure enough, Travis Kelce's already 32 years old.
Yep.
That's kind of old in the NFL. So, maybe this is not just a fluke thing right here, that maybe he is on the downside and it's getting worse now, because the drop-off is pretty quick for guys like that at that age. So I don't know what to make of him, but I think you still got to play him until he either breaks out or he absolutely breaks your bankroll. You just got to keep rolling with it. Tyreek, I guess you could play because of the secondary for Green Bay might struggle a little here, but game lost a lot of luster without Rodgers. So I don't know. I'm going to take Kansas City here, but I'm not as excited about it. Not nearly as much.
Yeah, same. I was really looking forward to this, and Green Bay playing well, big win against Arizona. Now, it's still a tough place to play. As mediocre as the Chiefs has been, it's still a tough task to go in there and win a ball game. But with Jordan Love there, Derek, really tough to trust anything. I could see Adams being the focus, but is he good enough to get him enough targets and good quality looks to pay off that price? I just have a hard time believing that with what I've seen out of Jordan Love. So I still like Aaron Jones, especially with his involvement in the passing game. The Chiefs have struggled big time with pass catching running backs. So my hope is people kind of shy away from this offense. I still think Aaron Jones is in play. On Kansas City, I love Tyreek Hill here. Big playability against this Green Bay secondary that's been improved, but no Alexander really stings this team. So pretty much a little mini stack here for me, Derek. Tyreek, Devontae, and I'm going to lock in the under on this game. I think both offenses could struggle a little bit. As much as I like those two players, I just don't see this one having fireworks. So under for me, Aaron Jones, Tyreek Hill. Derek, what do you got?
Kansas City side, I think everyone is going to overreact to what they saw on Monday night. Derek Gore, he looked good. He got some carries. He got the touchdown, but Darrell Williams still played 64% of the snaps, the same exact number of snaps he played the week before that. Gore really just cut into Jerick McKinnon's work. So as home favorites, I think he's an excellent option again this week. And then, look, Travis Kelce might be dust, but just in case he's not, isn't it worth, taking a shot on him at probably the lowest ownership we've gotten all year? In a pretty good matchup, I'll definitely take some shots there. Obviously, you can go with Tyreek Hill. Certainly no issue with that. And then, I'm juggling a lot of sports right now, but did I hear something about Aaron Rodgers uncircumcised? Chop?
No, I thought I meant unvaccinated. My bad.
You definitely said uncircumcised. I'm like, I don't know what Chop's reading up on, but
I didn't see that come across the feed.
My apologies, Mr. Rogers. I don't know. I have no idea about the other stuff.
Oh, you had some inside intel. I mean, I it's my team, and I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. But okay, all right, let's roll with it.
Unvaccinated, my bad.
Yeah, he said something like, I guess a reporter asked him, and he said, "Yes, I'm immunized" or something back in August. Like that was his way of trying to say, "Yeah, I'm vaccinated," without having to answer the question.
So, well, then there was another thing that came out today where they said he had sent a question to the league if like holistic medicine counted for vaccinations or something like that. So he's off into his own little space there doing his own little thing.
He's an interesting cat. I'll tell you that. He's a character. So, Derek, pick on the game.
I'm just going to take KC a roll.
All right, Chop, and I missed your pick somehow here.
KC
you threw me off with the uncircumcised. So
KC minus the points.
All right, both you on KC. I'm on the under. All right, one more game to go. Arizona and San Francisco. Arizona down to -1.5 here, 45.5 on the total, Derek. Obviously, a lot of questions on the Arizona side. Kyler Murray banged up. DeAndre Hopkins, we saw try to play dealing with that injury. He didn't last very long in that game. San Francisco, very impressive win, going to Chicago, putting a lot of points on the board behind Jimmy Garoppolo. Debo Samuel with a huge run in that game. And Elijah Mitchell looked great as well. Now, he's dealing with some injuries here as well, Derek. So a lot of question marks in this game, but I think the biggest one we got to talk about is Kyler Murray here. Thoughts on this one? Cardinals, 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a spot I want to load up on the Cardinals anyway. So if Kyler Murray's active, maybe he's a little bit limited. We saw his productivity take a big hit, in the second half of last season when he was dealing with an injury. If he's out, then I want no part of the Cardinals offense. And DeAndre Hopkins, that was kind of strange. I mean, he would just come in for one play like every quarter against the Packers last week. So that was interesting. He's obviously got a slate breaking upside, but doesn't look right. And it's a hamstring injury. You can easily aggravate that. So I don't know what to do there. Wait and see approach. And it does seem to look like a good spot for Elijah Mitchell. He's looked great so far. So I'd probably go that route. Don't mind going to Debo Samuel as well. Just a guy that he can take any catch to the house. So he'd be my favorite play from San Fran. For my pick, I'll go with the over. I think this game's competitive, and both offenses get it going a little bit.
All right, one more note. George Kittle expected back at practice this week, so we'll see if he's able to return to that lineup. Obviously, that would help this team, give them one more weapon. We did see a little flash out of Brandon Ayuk, so he's interesting as a cheap dart throw. But Chop, same questions for you. This injury situation with Kyler Hopkins makes it tough. So I'm going to lock in San Francisco, even if Kyler plays. Derek kind of mentioned it. We've seen him be very subpar when he's tried to play injured. It takes away his running ability. I think that's his biggest weapon. So if he's not able to run, he's got a banged up DeAndre Hopkins here. San Francisco riding high. Arizona really struggling, I think, with that loss to Green Bay. I think you could kind of see a hangover here in this game, even with additional days of rest. I like the Niners here, Chop. Finish this up here, Week 9, Arizona, San Francisco.
Yeah, last game on our slate, and the one with some of the biggest injury questions is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out, because this thing could take an entirely different shape if you get the wrong guys ruled out here in the afternoon. So that's why late swap is so key, man. Gotta pay attention. But I'm going to go in there with the assumption that Kyler's going to play. I don't know how healthy he is, but let's say he plays and DeAndre, I'm not counting on any production out of DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't necessarily think they need it right now. They got wide receiver depth. Just move Rondale Moore in there somewhere, and you'll be all right. So I don't think it's going to hurt them too much. But Murray would be the huge. Everything's built around Kyler Murray right here, so that would be huge. If he's out, then I don't want any piece of any of them. If he's in, like you said, I think he sits in the pocket, and I think he starts to target guys more. So Rondale Moore, I think Rondale Moore is in for a bigger game here, a bigger workload, and all you got to do is get him the ball. They were on that last drive before they threw the pick against Green Bay, and they threw him that little wide receiver screen real quick at the end of the game, and he made a couple of moves in a tight space on the Packers defenders, and he got about 9 yards out of nowhere, and you could just see the electricity that he brings. So I'm looking forward to him getting some more snaps. So I'd be good with that. But San Fran, I think that's where it's at. I think they win. I think they could win this game regardless, even if Kyler was healthy. But we get the added bonus that if Kyler's not healthy, we're going to get this game at +1 or whatever we're getting it at. So I really like San Francisco, and I like Debo and Mitchell and those boys. So I'm on that train. But give me San Francisco here.
All right, locking in San Francisco. So let's see. I think it's just Miami, right? We're riding on the Dolphins. Why do we always pick the shittiest teams and put all our hopes in one basket? We had the Lions one week. This week it's Miami. So no parlay card for you this week. Just Miami -6.5. But that is our thoughts. All of our favorite bets for the week. DFS analysis here on this Week 9 slate. Guys, final thoughts for the people here. Week 9. Chop, what do you got?
Yeah, Week 9. It's crazy. It feels like we've been here forever, and yet we're not even halfway through the season yet with the expanded season. It's nuts. So we're coming up on Halloween is in the rearview mirror. That's good. Thanksgiving is on the horizon, and what's good about that is now I have become, over the last 3 years, I've become a big Christmas lights guy. So I can't wait to get up in the attic, get the lights down, and start stringing them up around Thanksgiving. So that's my next big project. I'm looking forward to it.
I was going to ask, now, or do you at least wait till Thanksgiving? What's the time frame? So at least you're not doing it too early. So, yeah, have fun. Chop, it's always risky up there on that roof. You're not getting any younger.
I'm not going up on the roof,
so
my
be
friend.
careful.
You're asking too much. I'm not going up on the roof.
All right, well, you said stringing lights, so I'm thinking Chop.
I mean staircase and stuff like that, minor stuff, man.
I'm picturing you hanging from the gutter and all kinds of stuff.
No, I'm not doing a Chevy Chase National Lampoon's thing here, man.
Derek, final thoughts for the people here. Week 9, what do you got?
Thanksgiving. I'm excited for it. It's still a few weeks away though. Chop, do you get any snow down there? Probably not in Texas.
No,
right?
No snow.
You get once every few years a little bit of snow and everything freezes.
No, we get snow maybe once every 10 to 12 years.
Nice.
And probably everything shuts down for a week, Derek. They don't know how to handle that.
Don't have the infrastructure. I remember happened in Nashville last year, the year before that, and everything just shut down.
Well, they had no salt, right? They didn't get all icy, and they had no way to do anything with it. We don't have any salt, so yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, everyone join the OG contest. Best of luck this week. If you do have a big week, tag us on Twitter, and we'll give you a shout out.
Absolutely. So follow our page on Twitter at DFSOGsPod to make sure you guys enter this contest. FanDuel.com/OG. It's a great way to come hang out, play against us. Again, you do well, we're going to give you a shout out on the show, a chance to win some additional money, $10,000 in total prizes, $5,000 to the winner at the end of this thing. So we're nearing the halfway point, like you mentioned, Chop. Exciting times for sure. So thank you to FanDuel for sponsoring the show. Thank you to you guys for listening each and every week. We greatly appreciate it. Best of luck in your contests and with your bets this week. For Notorious, for Head Shopper, I am Beer saying salut. We are the DFS OGs. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next week.